And 12 states, especially in northern Nigeria and some parts of the Niger Delta, are at risk of extreme flooding due to torrential rains from this month of August through to October. And some coastal areas in some states will experience low rains. Now, this is the part of the predictions by the Nigeria Meteorological Agency. At least 50 people have died in flooding in Jigawa State. Arise correspondent Amaka Ode tells us more.
Residents of major cities in Nigeria have been experiencing more than 72 hours of rain in the last few days, as earlier predicted by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. Onimode, which had also predicted between 96 to 310 days of rain across the country this year, has now placed an alert on the relevant government agencies as well as citizens over the imminent heavy and extended rainfall in some parts of the country.
So the following states will be having between August to October above normal rainfall. And these states are Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Kano, Jigawa, Bauchi, Yobe, most parts of Gombe, and Borno states. And last but not the least, the northern fringes of Adamawa states. And this is a very alarming situation.
Nigeria in the last few years has been experiencing more rainfall, which sometimes leads to floods, with the worst occurring in 2012, where over 400 lives were lost and properties worth billions of naira got destroyed. And despite ample warning by the Meteorological Agency on the prevailing weather patterns, flooding still occurs due to blocked drainages or lack of proper channeling of waterways and canals. Imminent is calling for more collaboration.
All the Nigerian socio-economic sectors are weather sensitive, whether agriculture, water resources, health, construction, transportation, all the three forms of transportations and etc. So this requires effective coordination coupled with the high deforestation activities, felling down of trees. So we have most of the river channels being silted up, and this affects their own size. And whenever there is inflow of water runoff, so they tend to overflow easily because the original depth has been affected. So the missing link Arise TV here is the response by citizens, and we also encourage that state government should please liaise and align their activities with our advisories.
The effects of climate change are stark in Nigeria, including frequent massive floods. Experts are hoping that the early warning system by the Meteorological Agency will be taken seriously to save lives. Amaka Ode, Arise News.
Well, joining us now is the Director of Special Duties at the National Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Abdullahi Onimode Bandele. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
us.
Thanks for joining us.
I must comment that you came pretty early ahead of this conversation. We do appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
So you give these warnings every time, every year. How significant will you say it is? What difference does it make? Do the people, the government at the state levels, do they take it seriously?
Thank you very much. I listened to the Director General of NIMET. NIMET will do the initial seasonal climate prediction, followed by the annual hydrological, annual flood outlook by NISA. NEMA will then bring in technical experts to discuss these predictions, come out with disaster management implication of this prediction. Usually these are disseminated to states and through our zonal, territorial and operation offices to stakeholders at the local level. But it is unfortunate that most of the states don't have SEMAs that are functional. These disasters we talk about happen at the backyard of somebody. That place belongs to a local government. The local government is part of a state. So you expect this disaster management approach to be bottom top, but the responsibility has been left to NEMA that will have to take responsibility when it happens. So
Right.
what we need to do as a nation is to strengthen disaster management practices at the local level and state levels.
So what exactly are some of these practices? I mean, what measures ideally should the state environmental management agencies, put in place to mitigate these flood warnings?
Let me correct that. Not environmental management, state emergency management.
Sorry, did I say environmental? Sorry. Yes, state emergency management agency.
Yes, when you get the prediction, most of our drainages are silted. We expect everybody to desilt their drainages.
When you say silted, what does that mean?
Carrying a lot of sand in
Okay,
it. So you have to evacuate those sand. And we must bring to fore the use of effective waste management system. People dump refuse recklessly, blocking waterways. Another point is people build houses that are not according to plan. So we expect the state town planning board or whichever organization that is given that responsibility to carry to the latter to ensure that people who build their houses have approval and they don't block floodplains, because no matter what you do, water will find its way.
Absolutely, but when you say people, pour all kinds of dump refuse in canals, drainages, and what have you, is it not because the states themselves fail to provide, places where people can actually dispose of their refuse properly?
The truth is, even in Abuja here,
Right,
where bins are provided, people still find it very convenient to throw some of this thing by the roadside. It's just in the nature of some Nigerians not to adhere to rules that are in place by government.
because the laws are not enforced, one might say.
That
But,
is why
yeah.
we are saying enforcement should please be strengthened where they do exist.
Okay, and just looking at the predictions for this year, 6 states have been mentioned to stand out.
Yeah.
They are more prone, and they are, again, Borno, Kebbi, Sokoto, Bayelsa, and Delta states. Why
Even the
are,
FCT where we are.
and why are these states more prone to flooding this year? Is this what we've seen in the past? What's different?
Like we all know, climate change is a reality. Where you expected flood last year, it didn't take place. Where you're looking for it this year, it's not going to take place. So if we get this prediction, it is expected that we work closely with all organizations that are involved to ensure that when these predictions are made, enough preparation is put in place so as to be able to mitigate the effect of whatever comes out of it.
And that's why I ask the question, exactly how should preparations be made, both on the part of government and the communities? I mean, these challenges, like you said, are local. How should everyone prepare?
Enlightenment is number one. You must let them know what they are supposed to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Because if you just make announcement on television, on radio, there are Nigerians that will not carry out what you have told them to do. But if you go to these communities, these towns, and you practicalize what you want to do, using the local government councillors, using the local government chairman to do flag off of what you expect, people will naturally queue in and follow suit.
From what I understand, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, or the SEMAs at the state level usually provide relief or succor after the events have happened. So it's interesting to see you that you are even talking about prevention, so that we can mitigate some of those occurrences. Yeah. But as an agency, are you prepared for these flood warnings we have gotten for this year? How prepared is NEMA?
Very prepared.
How prepared is very prepared.
Very prepared, because what I mean is,
what practical measures have you put in place?
Okay,
to ensure,
when, like I said, when the prediction was made, we examined the disaster management implication of it. We went to states, wrote to state governors, made our zonal territorial office to get prepared. And as we speak, there are stockpile of relief material to bring succor to affected persons.
In Jigawa State, where we saw 50 people die from the flooding there, what's been the response of NEMA there?
So far?
The response is...
and what's the situation on ground in Jigawa at the moment? 6
local governments were seriously hit. Brenewa, Kefin Hausa, Krikasama, Hadeja, Kaugama, and Malamadori. And the people that were affected, assessment was carried out and provision has been made. In total, as we speak, about 7,650 households in Jigawa State are being given provisions, which include food, non-food items, and building material. The 7,650 households translate to about 46,000 individuals. That is what NEMA is currently doing.
Okay, that's quite interesting to hear. But when you hear from NIMET and even your agency that those living in flood plains should evacuate, it's easier said than done. In evacuating these people, exactly how does NEMA come in? And are you working in tandem with state governors and the federal government?
Like I said,
very quickly.
Once the prediction is done, we'll work with the state government. But enforcement is what we are talking about. NEMA at the national level cannot go to a local government and enforce evacuation. Our role is advisory in nature, that you should get out of this when it is coming. But when the disaster now happens, we have stakeholders that can help us in evacuating these people. We work with NEWA, we work with the fire service, both state and federal. We work with the Nigerian Air Force, the military, where we have the disaster response unit. So all these people are brought to bear when the disaster actually occurs for them to help us in evacuating affected persons to safe ground.
All right, thank you very much. Onimode Abdullahi Bandele, Director of Special Duties, NEMA. Thanks for joining us.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much.